Welcome to the Leadership and Literacy Podcast, where we get up and read daily. This is for the trailblazers and page turners, those who use bookmarks and set mile marks. We ain't gonna stop just because you're not ready to start. Let's go! Eddie Robinson Jr. is the head football coach at Alabama State University, where he became the program's 30th head coach in November 2021. A New Orleans native and Alabama State alumnus, Robinson was a standout walk-on linebacker and two-time SWAC Defensive Player of the Year, as well as a SWAC Academic All-American. He went on to play 11 seasons in the NFL before returning to lead the Hornets as the head coach. He is also a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, the greatest fraternity in the world. All right, we're back. Thank you guys for clicking and subscribing. Thank you guys for your likes. Thank you all for sharing us out with your friends and family. We ask you to continue to share us out. Also, please don't forget we are streaming on Amazon. We're streaming on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts. We're also streaming on Spotify. So please go out there and check us out. It's the Leadership and Literacy Podcast, where we get up and read daily. But today we got us a special guest in the building, my frat brother, and also the head coach of the Alabama State University, Mr. Eddie Robinson. Thank you for coming out to hang out with me.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I'm excited.
Awesome. I am too, man. You guys had a great season last season, so I'm excited for you to have you here, but also excited about what this season is going to look like, based on what you guys did last year. So, with that being said, how was it, coming into leadership at ASU and getting the head coaching spot? But I know the expectation is, you gotta win. You gotta win Classic. You better win Turkey Day. But you've taken it to beyond that. You know what I'm saying? How did you come in and get your staff together, and then also, just getting the guys on one accord to go out and do such a great job?
Yeah, I mean, I think the simple word is that it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. And I think being a leader it's a 24-hour, 365-day-a-week job. I mean, you're always working at how can I become a better leader? I'm looking from leadership. I find leadership from everybody. When I'm riding my bicycle throughout Montgomery or in Houston, I'm finding leadership from people who are just homeless.
Yeah.
And I'm just talking to them like, hey, how did you get in this situation? And I can learn something from every person that I encounter. So I think the leadership aspect of it has to have that humbleness to know that you're always learning to try to get better. And I think in the words of Houston Markham, in order to be a good leader, you got to be a good listener. You have to listen to the people that you're trying to lead, and then you got to take that aspect of it and then just keep moving and don't be afraid to fail. Because part of it is you will make mistakes. No leader has been 100% perfect. And so we can go on and on. I think the leadership aspect of it is one of those things that was taught to me by some great coaches that I've had throughout my life. Just watching my mom and my dad. My mom was a junior high school principal, and she coached a little basketball.
Oh, wow.
Didn't know a lot about it, but she knew about coaching and leading girls, young women. So
that's right.
And so I've just learned from a lot of different sources of how to be a good and effective leader.
That's good. And let's go ahead and clear that up. Everybody thinks when you're speaking of your parents that you were related to the Eddie Robinson that was the head coach at Grambling. But that I just want to clear this up, people. That is not the case, guys. That is not the case. But I know you run into that all the time. So what do you say with that?
No, it's pretty good. I mean, I know his grandsons, his granddaughter. I knew his son, knew his wife. So pretty much almost like a part of the family. You got to think about me being from New Orleans. I was very aware of Eddie Robinson and the Bayou Classic. My dad went to Southern in New Orleans, so we always were rooting for Southern. And of course, most time Grambling would beat them. So,
So
everybody in New Orleans, you were very aware of Eddie Robinson and the legacy and the tradition and history of the Grambling State football. And so once I got into the SWAC and playing at Alabama State, in order to meet him one time was just a highlight for me. And then just to compete against him. And once I got into the NFL, we were always at the same banquet. So he's one of the people that I learned a lot of leadership by. He's one of the classiest Americans that have ever lived, in my opinion. And so I still say some of his jokes. Like when I first started speaking, a lot of my jokes was it was an Eddie Robinson impersonation. People didn't realize it, but I was repeating the same jokes and the same things that I had heard him say.
Wow, that's cool. Speaking of which, I got this clip here that he's kind of spoke on, and it's going to kind of give a pretext of what we're going to get into about. But he spoke on paying student athletes, and he spoke on this in like 1984. So this and so what I'm going to do for the people, if I can get my phone together, I'm going to play this clip for you guys so y'all can check it out, and then we're going to come back and speak on it right quick, and then we'll pick up the conversation from there. But he was speaking on the future of college, paying college athletes, or the future of college football, and creating incentives for them to play rather than treating them as student athletes. So y'all check this clip out, and we're going to come right back.
Our needs and aspirations are the same as the big school, and we try to graduate our people. We're real proud today that we stand shoulders above most of the school. We graduate more football players than most schools because we feel that we are dealing with America's most precious possession. And I'm really proud that we do this in graduating our people. We note that in the CBS 18-game schedule contained no 1A, and I can understand you have to get the most attractive team. The same can be said of ABC 20 cards and ESPN cable Saturday night game. We are locked out with seemingly no place to turn. Gentlemen, I hope that the members of this committee will give every consideration to our problem and offer constructive solutions. I feel now that after these years and the great contribution that this organization has made to intercollegiate athletics, that the tail is about to wag the dog. It is television now. It will be recruiting tomorrow. It will be academic standards after that. Then it will be buying athletes next until the whole college athletic structure tumbles down. I'm pleased to have this opportunity to appear before you. Thank you.
Well, what do you think about that? First of all, it was one thing because you saw a period where, and I don't know, I guess I'm going to tell our age here, but it was a time you only saw Southern and Grambling on TV, and that was during the Bayou Classic, like you said. And I think maybe NBC or somebody would televise that. So by the time, let's just say you were getting recruited for football, I don't think it was, ASU was getting a whole lot of TV time.
Nope.
And so I think that was a question for athletes at the time, hey, am I going to be on TV? Or that's why we didn't get, certain athletes to come our way, at that particular time. And now, it's kind of evolved, and we're on ESPN, we're on Griot. The SWAC has a whole network now that I just I uploaded that, and these kids are getting more visibility, and the NIL thing, has just kind of broadened the whole scope. But I think like Mr. Robinson was saying, or Coach Robinson was saying, it's gonna now the tail is wagging the dog, so to speak. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think it was very prophetic, just for him to have that foresight to realize that, as he said, it's TV first, it's recruiting next, it's academics last. And so, I'm talking about the eroding of those systems.
Exactly.
And the biggest thing with that aspect of it was the television money wasn't being shared equally. and they were blocking out the 1AA schools, which is the FCS now.
Exactly.
And back then, and when I was in college, it was BET. It was Charlie Neal and Lem Barney, and when they would come to campus, oh man, it was a big thing when BET and the truck was coming. So that's where you had your videos and everything else. It really connected with the black community, and so, it evolved to where eventually the FCS schools are now with the ESPN platform and ESPNU and everything there. So I think just going from that situation to now, I think nobody could really have foreshadowed the NIL aspect of it taking off the way it did, which is really more of a revenue share. You're actually paying players more than having a payment for your name, image, and likeness, which was the intent. It kind of jumped that hurdle and went straight to revenue share. So now we're going to pay players based on how good of a player they are, or their potential to be a really good player. So I feel like it's one of those situations that was needed. Sometimes if you don't push things along and stay in step with the times, then you have something where it's going to catch up. So it's like to me, it's the natural flow of a river. You can dam it, you can bank it, you can try to turn it and redirect it, but sooner or later it's going to be a big heavy rain and the river's going to go where the river's going to go. So I think at this point right now, the river is going where the river wants to go, which is payment of the student athletes, which I think everybody was in agreement. Hey, the student athletes should get paid somehow, some kind of way, mainly because of television and the market and the income that the universities were making, and the coaches and the academic people, the athletic directors, everybody associated with football support staff was making just an enormous amount of money. And so, but it wasn't filtering down to the people who are in the arena, who are the most important people at the end of the day, because it's all about the students.
Exactly.
And so now I think it's probably overcorrected to the other way, to where the athletes are getting a whole lot of money. But it's hard for me, having played high school football, little league football, college football, played 11 years in the NFL, it's hard for me to ever say that anyone who's putting their body on the line is ever getting overpaid.
That's right.
So I think I look at it as a capitalistic society type situation. For example, when I was a linebacker in the NFL, it was 30 teams, right?
Yeah.
So it was, everybody had 2 outside linebackers. It was 60 total. So even if you thought I was the worst one, I was one of the starters. So that means out of the 60 people who were doing this in the world, I was one of the top 60.
Yeah, wow.
So if you're one of the top 60 surgeons, one of the top 60, architects, one of the top 60 artists, if you're one of the top 60 in the world at any profession, you're going to get compensated a lot more than the other people that's doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like with the college athletes, some of these guys are amazing. I mean, just the things that they're doing athletically and the time constraints. I don't think people realize how much time requirement is for that student athlete to potentially have a chance to play. And it's a small percentage. We have 105 guys on the team. There's only 22 starters. So I have another 80 guys who aren't starting, who aren't playing a lot, but they're just as important as the main guy, because everybody has to be a star in their role.
Yes.
And so just because the main guy is getting a whole lot of money, we can't win without that other guy who's probably not getting anything. He may be a walk-on and paying his own way to school. So I think people are just looking at the top half of it, but they're not understanding that football is like the ultimate team sport of self-sacrifice, of developing friendships and committing to each other. And it's just a great way to connect with people for a lifelong time. So my friends and teammates from Alabama State, I talk more to those guys than I do to the guys I play with in the NFL.
Right.
Because we had a common lot. We were all together in the same situation, going to Hall Street Sandwich Shop, buying a wing plate for $1.99. Borrowing money to wash clothes. So we connected.
Bonded,
We bonded. And sometimes you bonded over misery, but at the same time we bonded.
We bonded nevertheless.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but but let me ask you this. With that being said, and we use the term student athletes, but it just seems like now they're more athletes, and the student part is not so ingratiated, because like you say, it takes time to be a great player. To be a great player, you have to be a student of the game.
right.
And so I one thing he was mentioning is that it was a time, well, for that time, and I'm wondering, is it the same now? Are we still graduating our SWAC
Oh,
athletes
absolutely.
at the same rate,
Yeah.
compared to, the PWIs?
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, it's the GSR, graduating success rate. So, and then
Hmm.
you have the APR, which makes you have to make sure that the kids are taking classes that are leading to a major. And so the
Hmm.
NCAA has implemented some programs that are really good, meaning that after your first 4 semesters, if you don't have a certain percentage towards your degree, then you're you're athletically ineligible.
Ineligible.
So it's no longer where I can take 12 hours of this and 12 hours of that and just random classes to be eligible. You have to actually take classes moving towards a degree major. And if you
Oh,
don't, then you'll become ineligible. So you're forcing the kids. You have guardrails to make sure. Like you can't be in your 4th year of playing college football and not be at 80% towards your degree. Else
oh,
you will be
wow.
academically ineligible. So the
Okay.
barriers are still there because even if I want to transfer from one school to another, I still have to have my academic percentage to be at the correct level for me to
To
transfer. So
transfer.
there are guardrails. Like
Okay.
people are saying, well, none of the kids are graduating. Well, that's not true. You'll become ineligible before you graduate, before you don't graduate,
Right,
if
right.
that makes sense.
And see, and for the public, and it's great we got an insider here, guys. See what I do for y'all? You see? See what I do for y'all? See, okay, so for the public, we're looking at it like, not to call names or what have you, but let's just say the kid that was at Georgia, he transferred to Miami, the quarterback,
All right,
Carson.
transfer it every year. Yeah,
Is it Beck?
I'm
I
more
think
than sure he's graduated.
right, and so
Right.
we just hear he got so many million to go
Correct.
here. We ain't hear about him finishing school or anything like that. So we're thinking these kids are going from one school to the next, and just making money, but not taking that
Yeah,
that scholarship aspect with them.
they're moving along with the scholarship aspect of it. I mean, because you can't and if I'm ineligible at school A, I can't transfer to school B and be
And be
eligible.
eligible. Okay,
Because if I'm
all
ineligible
right,
at school A, I can transfer, but I have to sit out a year to get back eligible, which means that my percentage towards degree has to be in line with the NCAA standards.
okay,
So,
okay,
but
okay,
I look
good.
at it, and what I tell people is inherently, what's the purpose of college? Why do you send your kid to college? In order to get a good what?
Education
And a good what?
degree,
And a good what?
a good.
After you get the education, he get the degree, and he got student loans, he's going to get a good what?
What scholarship?
A
Or you better get a good job. Oh
good
yeah, the
job.
job. Yeah, heck yeah.
so,
Exactly.
so I think the part that people are missing is the purpose of college is to get a good job.
Job. Yeah.
So if I tell a young man, hey man, I'm going to pay, and when I was coming out, the dilemma was for those students who had an opportunity to go to the NFL a year early. So say, for example, you've been in college for 3 years and the NFL says, hey, you're a first round pick. We're going to pay you $3 million. So the dilemma was, do I go back to Georgia or Alabama or Tennessee and play one more year for the university for free? Or do I go to the NFL and make the millions of dollars right now? And when will I go back to finish my degree? Because I've only been in college 3 years. So even back then, my thought was very few universities closed.
Right.
But that opportunity to get that good job, because I can go back to the university, play for free, and get injured, get hurt, etc. So if you have a chance to make the money, if you have a chance to have a good job, get a good job. But see, they treat student athletes differently from everybody else.
Yeah.
Because when Bill Gates dropped out of college to found Microsoft, it was like genius.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got all these other guys, these tech starters who go to MIT or whatever, they get the knowledge after a year and a half and they say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to put this college on hold because I have enough to get into my field and make money. And so the purpose of college served its purpose. It was for you to develop and to get a good job. Ideally, you will need 4 years and get your degree. That's your traditional path. But if your path can go to athletics, where we know it's a young man's game,
Yes.
once you're 30, 26, 28, 30, you're considered an older guy. So if you can make the money while you're young, you can't fault the student athletes from making the money while they're young.
No.
And so I like getting back to the college aspect of it. I think from the NIL, I mean, it's a blessing for guys to be able to make that type of money in college. I think I just saw a thing where 2% of all of the athletes that are playing high school sports get athletic scholarships to go to college. 2%. Now that's a big chop off of the hundreds and thousands of kids that are playing athletically in high school. But then once you go to the NFL, it's like a 0.2% of those guys playing college football get a chance to play for NFL. So if the chance for the majority of athletes is to make a significant amount of money while they're in college, because they know their chances of making it professionally is very slim, then you have to encourage them to make the money while they're in college.
Exactly.
Now, at the same time, you have to encourage them to finish their degree, be prepared for life after the sport. You have to have all those lessons too. That's when the leadership of the coaches come in. But at the same time, you have to prepare the kids that, hey, you may be able to make a substantial amount of money while you're still in college.
Yeah. And I think that's good. That's good. And I wonder, now does that assist you when you're going out and talking to the kids?
Oh, absolutely.
And trying to compel them to come to the university? I think that's a great incentive to tell them that you'll be able to, if that's possible, So
it's one of those situations where, you're recruiting based on, I'm going to give you a full scholarship. We'll have a revenue share, the potential for you to grow your brand as an individual, the potential to go to the NFL, the potential to get your degree. And because, let's be honest, most of my kids, 99% of them are going to finish, be great parents, great fathers, great husbands, great businessmen. So most of them are going to use their degree as opposed to use their athletic ability to take care of their family.
Yes.
But for the few who can use their athletic ability to take care of their family, then you have to, encourage them to do that. But it's almost like an all or nothing approach, because the amount of time you put into something that's not guaranteed, it's no guarantee to make it. So I think sometimes the general public doesn't realize that we're putting an extraordinarily amount of time into one singular event that could be gone in an instant because of injury, or I don't make it to the next level because I'm not good enough, or just maybe the coach didn't like me and I get a chance. There's a million things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes you got to have a little bit of grace to say, hey, those young men are giving everything they have in college, with the opportunity, very slim opportunity, to potentially make it to the NFL or to potentially get a significant amount of money from the university or through an NIL partner.
Right. Now I want you to touch on this a little bit. How important is it now? One of my sayings, what up, AJ? Shout out. My saying said that for him, and you just tell me, for you as well, it was important to him. Now he could have played minor league ball for the Blue Jays. He could have played in the Major League Baseball. But he said what made a difference was to him is that Coach Markham actually came to his house and sat down on his couch and recruited him. He said that made a big difference. Nick Saban does that. I'm quite sure you do it. How much does a difference does that make? Because some coaches out there don't.
What's that? You have to have a relationship with the student athlete, and it has to go beyond. It has to go towards the parent, the coach, the uncle, whoever is that significant person that's going to help that kid to navigate life. You want to have a relationship with that group of people, and so because think about it. I've had my 18-year-old son that I put on the plane and sent away to college to North Carolina A&T. And especially when it's your oldest and it's your first one.
Right.
I tell those mamas, I said, man, you drop them off, you gonna cry? Yeah, I'm gonna cry, coach. I'm like, it'll be all right. But I mean, that's a very big decision when you have a 18-year-old son and you're telling him, I'm gonna let him go to a different state or across the country, and I'm trusting a coach to raise my kid, not just to be a good football player, but to be a good person.
That's right.
And so you really have to tell them that, hey man, first of all, I'm gonna love your son. That goes back to Coach Eddie Robinson. You gotta love him before you coach him.
Yeah.
Like if you don't genuinely love and care about the well-being and the outcome of this kid's life, then to me you're in the wrong profession. And so that's a part of it. And for me, I want to get to know the situation of the kid. Like I want to know what is your parental background? Do you have guidance? Do you not? Do I'm gonna have to step up in these areas? Do you have, so then I can fill in the gap of maybe where the parents or the home life is not filling in, so that way I can give that kid a well-rounded experience in college. So
exactly.
you got to develop the man first.
That's
you develop the man first, and the football player takes care of himself. If I'm worrying about football, but you have a life issue that you can't figure out, you'll never be the full football player you could be.
Need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hey, well, that's what we're doing. We're trying to develop leaders and literacy scholars right here on the Leadership and Literacy Podcast. We're going to take a break, pay a few bills, and we'll be right back to you after these few commercials.
The Fade into Reading program begins October 1st for boys in 1st through 3rd grade. Choose a book at or above your reading level from Valiant Books, Legacy Barber and Style, or your public library. Then read it aloud at Legacy, Valiant Books, or live on a parent's Facebook or Instagram. Flip a page and earn a fade. Complete the challenge and receive a free haircut. Sponsored by Legacy Barber and Style, Valiant Books, and the All Males Book Club of Montgomery.
Welcome to Alabama State University's College of Education, where we believe in shaping the future through education. We invite you to explore pathways of endless possibilities.
Where educators are not just decision makers, but history makers. And yes, it's a great time to be a Hornet.
In a rapidly changing world, the role of an educator has never been more critical. At Alabama State University's College of Education, we understand the power of best practices that have an impact on shaping aspiring educators for generations to come. Our esteemed faculty and staff are dedicated to preparing future educators who will make a difference in the lives of their students, their communities, and the world. Educators have the potential to shape minds, ignite curiosity, and inspire greatness. In the College of Education, we provide you with the tools in your lifelong toolbox to make a lasting impact on the lives of those you teach.
Oh yeah, and did we mention not just decision makers, but history makers? And let us assure you, it's a great time to be a Hornet.
And yes, it's a great time to be a Hornet, especially in the College of Education. Tutoring and reading will be offered at Valiant Books, located at 1409 Oak Street. That's right, every Tuesday and Thursday from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, we review skills for students in grades kindergarten through 5th grade so they can improve their reading ability. So scan the QR code on the flyer and sign your child up today.
Words have the power to change the world.
They can inspire, educate, and uplift.
Violence and guns, they can't solve our problems.
But books can show us a different way.
So pick up a book,
not a gun,
and live lit.
All right, we're back. Yes, sir. Make sure you go out and support the Alabama State University, namely the College of Education. And if you haven't, parents, please make sure you check out our tutoring program right here at Valiant Books, where we offer tutoring from 4 o'clock to now 6 o'clock. Make sure you sign your child up. Go back, rewind this scene right here and go to the commercial. Scan that QR code and sign your child up for a segment either from 4 to 5 or 5 to 6. Also, gang, if you all haven't, go ahead and pick up the book called Ghost by Jason Reynolds. As you all saw, we did a campaign with that book working with Montgomery Public Schools. It's a real great campaign, and we got different middle schools and high schools out there doing some reading. So that's what we want to do. If you haven't read the book yet, please go and pick it up and check it out. And then once again, if you haven't done so already, make sure you check us out on Spotify, Amazon, and on Apple Music. All right, but now we're back with our guest, Coach Eddie Robinson. And we're going to go ahead and get into one of my favorite segments, which is the Leadership Challenge, where we put up our 5 leadership principles right here on the screen. And we get our guest to choose one of the leadership principles that he uses each day as he goes through his leadership activities. And that would be, Coach?
That would be that blue one, number 4. What did I say it was?
I think it was enable others to act.
Enable others to act. That's
yes,
correctly
indeed.
right.
Yes, indeed.
But no, I think for me, I'm one of those leaders that I try to promote leadership. Like I try to promote leadership amongst the players, but also amongst the coaches. And so sometimes you have to lead the leaders. And so I try to make sure that each coach is a head coach of his position. So what I'm doing is trying to get him to understand that the principles that I'm doing, the principles that I'm taking from President Ross, from Dr. Cable, as we go down the chain of command at Alabama State University, that we all have to be in sync. You know, we have to be in alignment. Like I can't be pushing this type of leadership and then he's way on the other side. And
Right.
And so I'll use different techniques just to encourage them to lead. I will have each one of my coaches, usually as a head coach, I'm presenting in front of the whole team, you know, on a daily basis every morning. I'm setting the message, but I will let my assistant coaches all have a day. And so I'm expecting them to go out there and present in front of the team. What that does is that it allows the team to get to know the coach. And it allows the team to see the coach in a leadership position, and the coach can perfect his craft of one day when he may be an offensive coordinator, he may be a head coach, you know, he may be an athletic director one day. And so I'm always making sure that everybody I'm leading, that I'm helping them to accomplish their goal as well. And so I don't get upset. I'm proud of the fact that I've had coaches that went to FBS programs as coaches. Some have, one has moved to an offensive line coach, 2 of them went to SEC school. So it's, to me, that's saying that what I'm doing is trying to help the people under me to become the next group of leaders to be the very best that they can do. So I think a big part of it, you got to put them in position to lead. And sometimes they do well, sometimes they don't, but I'm critiquing them and then I'm helping them to improve. And I think the last part of that is, with me being a leader, they're watching me lead. So I know that my standard has to be one that I can present to them, because I know they're using it as a guide. And then, but also I allow them to critique me in my leadership. So I'm not upset if they say, hey, Coach Eddie, man, that thing you did yesterday, that was a little bit too much. You might want to, I need to pull it in a little bit. It's like, okay, so I'll allow them to critique me in my leadership, because as we critique each other, we're pushing each other, and then the whole organization is improving.
Exactly. I think that's very important. When I was in a leadership role as principal, I was fortunate to have my assistants work with me, and each of them were able to go out and they became principals themselves. And I think, like you said, that is a reflection of your leadership. And if they're able to go out and not only, not go out to be an assistant somewhere else, but actually go out to be, have the lead role. So I think that's very, very important. And like I say, kudos to you and your leadership skills and ability. I think that in that essence, I like the number one, which is model the way, because it starts with us, or it starts with you and how you go in each day and kind of set up your program and agenda, which that is key. If you don't have a plan, then you're planning to fail.
Absolutely.
All right, so with that being said, I always get into talking about going through this leadership thing. You got to have some level of energy, some level of conditioning, and you get out, you get the players, you get them in shape. I'm quite sure even y'all always doing some type of conditioning. If it's not spring training, then you guys are coming into the fall, so it's fall training, and then you're going through the season. So I'm quite sure as the coach, you have to be in shape yourself. What are some things that you do?
Yeah, so that's part of the lead by example. I think we always do a one word for the year, and our word this year is endure. Right?
Endure.
And so it's talking about when you have adversity in life, sports, whatever it is, sometimes you got to endure through the adversity to know that success is coming. You know, Martin Luther King said it's always darkest before the dawn. You know, and so right when you think I need to quit, I'm about to quit, it's not gonna happen. If you just wake up and go to work the next morning, and then boom.
Yeah.
And so most successful people were probably within days, minutes, seconds of about to quit.
Yes, sir.
And so as you working, you got to endure and then just don't give up. So right now I do a lot of cycling. And so I was explaining to the kids that cycling, it is a painful sport. Like you have to embrace the pain. You have to endure the hardship. And once you endure the hardship, the way you feel on the other side. So you got to go to the pain cave and want to be there.
Yeah.
And so it's not just the physical pain, it's the mental pain of, hey, I want to get up and do something that starts off fun, but it's going to end up painful at some point.
Yeah.
So it symbolizes sports. I think it symbolizes life. If you look at relationships that you're in, most relationships start off fun.
Yeah, they do.
But at some point they get a little painful and you got to work through the pain to get to the other side, and then it's a beautiful relationship.
Yeah.
But that, I just think it's one of those things that the kids see me, I'm working out, I'm riding the Peloton, I'm watching them when they lift weights and we're lifting weights. Most of my staff works out and lift weights with the kids. And I think for me, you have to model that hey, as a former athlete, the mentality of me being an athlete goes throughout my whole life. Is everything I'm doing is competitive. If they're keeping score, if somebody's going to be in first place or last place, then I'm trying to be in first place.
That's right.
Regardless of what that is. I think you got to set that example to the student athletes of this lifestyle of being an athlete is not just while I'm in college. It's not only when I'm on the football field. It's in everything you're doing. Compete in the classroom, compete for community service. Everything you're doing on campus, we're competing to be the very best sport at everything that we're doing.
Right. Because it's like you say, it's bigger than the sport. It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. I think that's very important. Now, just to kind of side note here, the Peloton, man, I've always been interested, but I've never done it. What is that like now? Because you're riding in isolation.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Peloton, but I think from a mental toughness, it's where you have to go. I prefer to ride outside. I'll do 30, 40, 60, 80, 100 miles. So it's
100 miles.
Yeah. So when we had the Selma to Montgomery, it was a group of us that got up at 3:30 in the morning. We rode from Montgomery to Selma, took about a 15-minute break, then we turned around and rode back. So it sounds like a lot, but you gradually build up to that, you know. And so I'm gonna get some T-shirts that are printed like 80 to 100, because when you're doing 100-mile rides, I've done a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I told the kids just the other day, the first 20 miles, you're like, man, this is fun. You're excited. You're still getting that spirit. Mile 30, you're trying to get to the halfway point. So it's like some ups and downs, but you know, I'm in this. I'm gonna get to that 100. You get to mile 50, like, oh man, I'm halfway. But then when you probably get to mile 70 or 80, at mile 80, you start thinking like, man, why in the heck am I on this bike trying to get to 100 miles? And so that 80 to 90 and 90 to 100. But if you think about most of the things that you've accomplished in life, they always start off easy and fun. And it progressively gets worse as you get to that point of finalizing whatever you're doing, whether it's building a house, you know, working on a car, whatever it is, it starting a new business, starting a new job. The first day is like, man, by the end of the first week, you're like, man, I gotta go back to the training manual. I didn't realize this is what I have to do. And so it's that point of inflection of, hey, I gotta work a little bit harder to make this happen. And I think that's where you have to really get kids into that mindset of it's not gonna go exactly the way you want. Very few times, even if you're reading instructions or putting together a bed that you bought online, it's gonna be like step A, step B. And it's like, oh man, I'm supposed to connect double E to double F. It's like, oh, let me undo it and redo it right.
Do it again.
Let me call a guy. Now I'm gonna have to fight through it. You know.
Right.
And so we're trying to teach those skills of perseverance and endurance, and then that's how you kind of get to that point. But so the Peloton is the same way, to answer your question, because it's more of a mental aspect. But I can do an hour and a half and still, you know, make it fun. Yeah. But it's the mental aspect of, you know, getting to that point of getting into a groove of doing something that's somewhat monotonous. Because when I'm riding on the street, you know, I'm seeing signs, buildings, you know, trees, cows. So it's more engaging. Where on the Peloton, it's just more of a grind, you know.
Yes, it is. I can only imagine. I can only parallel it to swimming.
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
I like to do that, and yeah, you get so far in the thick of that workout, man. You know, there's really no turning back because you get to a certain part of the pool, you can't touch the bottom.
You got to keep
So
going.
you gotta keep
Right.
going.
It's like me when I'm going up the hill and I'm halfway up the hill. If I stop pedaling, I'm gonna roll back down. So
you gotta go.
Yeah, because if you roll back down, what you gonna have to do? Start over
Start
again.
over,
So
yeah.
just get to the other side.
Yeah, get to the other side. You're exactly right. All right, so let's touch on this right quick. Your favorite book?
So I was thinking about that as you brought that to my attention. I probably have to say Carter G. Woodson, Miseducation of the Negro.
Ooh, classic.
Yeah, so I need to order a couple more copies. I always keep a couple, and because I gave out my last one, so I always keep some in my office. Because when the right kid comes who I feel like is mentally ready to read that book and accept that change, then I'm always, hey man, read this book.
Yes, sir.
Every kid, I gave it to my son, my oldest son. Everybody I've given that book to, the conversation that comes back. I never give them my copy because my copy I have notes and stuff and dates and stuff.
Right,
so,
exactly.
And I've done that before. I gave away one of the copies of my book and never got it back.
Oh yeah,
and
man.
it's not about the book; it's about my notes in the margin that I can't.
Exactly.
Because it tells me what I was thinking at the time that I read the book.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
yeah,
so
that's important.
And I think in that book, if I can share a quick quote with you, my favorite quote is out of the two educations that a man receives, that which is given to him and that which he gives himself. Philosophers have long concluded that the latter is by far the most beneficial. Indeed, all that is most worthy in man, he must work out and conquer for himself. And so, I've always learned that quote, and I've read the whole book numerous times, but it's telling you that the education that you're given, you got to re-educate yourself. So for example, if you tell me, hey, Coach Robinson, go pick out this book, and you pick it out for me, I may have an interest and I may not. So it's going to be hard for me to be enthusiastic. But if I go pick out a book on a topic that I like, that I'm enthused about, and then I can re-educate myself into that topic, I'm going to be more enthused about it. So that's the education that I'm really going to take with me for the rest of the life. So I think the formal education at K through 10th grade is great. But once you get to 18, 19, you got to re-educate and have an interest of what's going to move you as a person to take you for those next 40 years of your life. So.
Yes. That's important. That's so important. Carter G. Woodson, The Miseducation of the Negro. That
all-time classic. Never goes out of style. And what's so amazing about that book, you read it today in 2025, and it's like it was written yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like, but 2026, should I say? But it's a timeless story, and I don't know if we're caught in that Rip Van Winkle where we keep keep falling asleep and waking up. I'm not sure, but it's one of those books that you say, oh, that's an old book, Coach. That was from a long time ago. But nah, it's the things that were happening then is a message for today. So.
Yeah, and it's happening, not to say that, well, you are kind of repeating some of this stuff, but it's happening on a more advanced scale.
Faster.
Faster.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. You're a student athlete. I want to say scholar athlete as well now. Let's put that out there now. A lot of, how would I want to say, stereotypes about players is that that you guys don't read, y'all just into splitting helmets and all that stuff, but it's serious, and I'm saying that to say I've never played a down of football, on the collegiate level. I played a little league, okay, but I guess through playing video games, I got fascinated with learning X's and O's. Which one would you say is more difficult? Reading a book or reading plays?
That is a very good question. And I think for me, it was the hardest one is going to be the one that interests you the least. And that goes back to my Carter G. Woodson quote.
Yeah.
Like I have some kids that are 3.4 in the classroom, but they struggle learning plays.
Yeah.
And I have some kids that are 2.1 in the classroom, but football comes easy.
Yeah.
And I have some that are good at both. So it varies, but it's one of those situations where I mean, learning a playbook and really understanding the intricacies of football, like game management, like situational football, is either, I think it's one of those things, either you kind of get it or you kind of don't. Like, and some of the kids kind of get it naturally. And then as a coach, I can teach, prepare, work, but some of them just have that calmness about them, and they understand the bigger picture of what's going on with the situation. And I was one of those players. Like, I just was able to be in the moment, but anticipate what could possibly happen strategically. And so I always appreciated and understood and was intrigued about the strategic aspect of football, which is probably why I ended up going into being a coach. But I think those are the type of things that some kids kind of pick up on more than others, just like reading. You know, some people can pick up a book and they're gonna read all the way through. To me, I have to read about something that interests me. So I'm gonna read through historical things. I subscribe to National Geographic. I read it monthly. Still get the paperback. I have a bunch of them at my house. And so, but it covers a lot of different topics: social, animals, political, environmental. So it covers a lot of different topics. So it always stimulates my mind. I think one thing you have to realize is that when the misconception is when you finish school, it's like I'm done learning. It's not when you finish school, now you start learning.
Yeah.
Because now you're choosing what you learn.
Exactly.
And that's the things that's going to really stick to you, because now it's what you have an interest in.
Exactly. I can see that. And actually, you know, when you finish school, you're on the path to become you have to choose the path to become a lifelong learner.
Absolutely.
And really that happens to you whether you like it or not.
My goal is to learn one thing new every day.
Yeah.
And so whether it's from an individual, from a book, from a YouTube podcast, it's like I'm going to learn at least one thing new that I didn't know every day.
Yeah, that's strong. That is strong. That's very strong. How is it possible, or, you know, when we look at an athlete, or just case in point of what you're talking about, you know, may not have a lot of book sense or what have you, but you can learn plays. How is it possible for an athlete like Dexter Manley to be illiterate, but then also become a professional athlete in the NFL? But you pretty much kind of bypass. Well, you went through college,
right?
But
you couldn't have did much.
Like, and then, you know, you get to a certain point in your career and you finally acknowledge the fact that you couldn't read. Like that's so powerful. But I think that's what creates the conversation of which one is more difficult. Because I know defensively, now I love looking at it on the offensive end, but defensively, that's a whole nother thing. Because that's more anticipation,
right? More
than it's just straight, you run here or run there. You have to kind of follow the ball or follow a particular man.
Yeah, but it's like you said, there's certain things that just kind of come to you. And so I think in the position he was playing, I actually met Dexter Manley when I was living in Houston. So great story, man. He was a kid that was a superstar player at Jack Yates High School down there in Texas. Pretty sure he went to Jack Yates. And then he had a great college career and, of course, NFL career. But as you're saying, like, when you get in some of those situations, unfortunately, with the school system, because of the athletic ability of a student athlete, then the people around can say, hey, what's best for the kid at the time? Is it best to fail him so he can't play football and he never gets to go to college or never gets to experience, or do we get him to the next level and hopefully it'll kind of take that interest in him? But at some point, I think the biggest thing is I was blessed to always have great coaches in my life, you know, and so my coaches were my mentors. And so I think with Dexter, you just didn't have one person to say, all right, I'm going to make the situation with this individual kid better, regardless of the fact that he's a great football player and he's probably going to get paid a lot of money for it. I'm looking at what's best for the man. And then, but at the same time, you have to say, was it a teacher or coach who tried to do that, but the student and a student athlete at the time was like, hey, I'm not receptive to that.
Right.
I don't need that. And so you have to look at the big picture of, the school system failed them. Well, maybe the student failed himself. We don't know that part of it. And so, but very unfortunate that it did happen. But it was good that he was able to bring that out, because when you have situations like that, you're saying, well, you can't change what happened to Dexter Manley, but you're hoping that you can affect change by the next kid who comes along in that situation, where the school system and the coaches and the people around can say, hey, we're going to make sure that you get all of the tools you need to be successful, not just the athletic tools.
And that's important. That's important. Making the difference through leadership and meeting the student athlete where he or she is.
Absolutely.
In their lives. I think that's very important. Now, being a NFL athlete, then transitioning into a coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's you in the NFL, you're the star.
Right.
You go to coach, now they're the stars. How is that transition?
You know, and so it's kind of funny, actually. I was just talking to one of my players, and as a player, I can distinctly remember some of the coaches that I coached with. I said, hey man, the coach can't win the game, but he could sure lose the game. That was my little smart mouth way of saying, you need me more than I need you.
That's right.
And some of the coaches kind of picked up on it. They didn't always like it. But it is true. And so I tell my players that as a coach that, I cannot win the game. I can draw up the perfect play. It can make 100% sense. It could be the obvious way for us to win the game, but I can't execute the play.
Yeah.
Because I can't throw the ball, I can't catch the ball, I can't make the tackle. However, I can draw up the play so bad that even the best player could not make this thing work. So I can lose the game, but I can't win the game. So as a coach, I'm always leaning towards the student athlete to, hey, you have to take ownership because I've had my chance to play.
That's right.
And I think as a former NFL player, it's easier for me to put that star and that spotlight on the player. Like, I want them to be the guy that's getting the attention, and I want to be the guy in the background that's just directing. So it's my job to kind of illuminate them so that they can be the very best player that they could be and get the most out of their short time to play college football, or hopefully even at the next level.
At the next level.
And so I think most NFL players kind of have that mindset because I've been there. So it's not like, I know what it feels like. It was great. I loved it. I'm so blessed to have done it.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, if I can get a kid to just get a taste of it. I got some of my kids that have went to camp in NFL and they got cut in 3 days, but they're like, Coach, man, thank you for helping me to get to camp. I know I didn't, but that's an accomplishment.
Exactly.
Like it's not many people, and I tell people, when you talk about the NFL, it's the best of the best.
Yes.
And we don't take job applications. We're gonna find you.
That's right. Exactly.
No need to apply or tell me, hey, can I try? No, you can't try. I'll let you know.
That you know.
So that's how exclusive the job is. It's not even an online application to be an NFL player.
Right. That is in itself amazing there.
So
you're right, because they have to find
they'll
you.
Find
Bubba.
you. Right.
Yeah. that's so significant. So with that being said, a friend of mine was like, man, Prime came into the SWAC and started generating the hype to come do HBCUs. Then he ups and just leaves, goes to a PWI.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I guess it is. I think it's all about growth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is important. Do you think it's a chance you might go to a PWI or maybe go to the NFL as a coach?
I think for me, I really like being where I'm at. And so I tell the kids always, when you can wake up in the morning and have enthusiasm about the job that you're doing and truly know that you're where God wants you to be, then it's like, it's such a great feeling. So for me, it would have to be a situation where I felt like that's where I needed to be. And I would also have to feel like the job here is complete.
Okay.
Right now the job's not complete.
That's right. You're right.
And beyond the kids doing well, graduating, we've had over 30 first or second team all conference guys. We had national award winners in Andrew Body and James Burgess.
Yes.
So we've accomplished a lot. We haven't won the championship. So that's obviously
we got to get that.
Got to get that.
Yeah.
And not just one. And so that's the mindset I have. So So to answer that question, I can't say that it would never happen, but if it happened, you'll truly know that I feel like my job here is complete, and then it's another challenge that I need to have. And for example, most people don't know, I was actually, my son wanted to play baseball when they were like 5 and 7. Never coached baseball. I was horrible at the game. Didn't like it, didn't care about it at all. Go to the game and fall asleep. So I get into coaching T-ball, and I'm like, man, you know, I kind of start understanding, and I go to an all-star game. And I'm looking like, man, there's no black players at the all-star game. I didn't realize it at the time. This was like, you know, probably in the early 2000s when I first got back to Houston, 2010 maybe. Yeah, 2010, like that time. So, and so then I'm like, man, I want to really commit to helping African Americans to play high school and college baseball to get a chance to compete at that level. And so I took my little team, you know, 12 inner city kids, Sunnyside Park, and we started traveling and doing select baseball and it's high cost and moving around. But all of those kids have ended up playing baseball in college, in high school and college, either
that's great.
or football. You know, one of them was on my team for a couple of years. And so one of them, a young lady, she's the starting center fielder for University of Florida.
Oh, wow.
And so it's just been, and I had opportunities to even go to the NFL and do other things athletically in college from a coaching standpoint. But at the time I was like, I'm not finished what I'm doing.
Yes.
And so it just didn't feel right to tell the kids at 6 years old, it's my job to help get the African American kids in the inner city to be able to play high school and college baseball. But then when you're 10, I got a job and I'm about to leave.
Yeah.
And so I took them all the way to 14 till they got the 9th and 10th grade. And then it just happened at the time. The timing kind of happened. Then I was able to be the head coach at Alabama State.
Yeah.
And so I tell people, like, what's meant to happen in your life is going to happen. Like, don't rush life. It'll be over soon. You know what I'm saying? And so I truly I truly enjoy the moment of being where I'm at. Like I love waking up to the game, and I guess if it ever got to the point where I'm not a little bit nervous, I'm not excited, but trust me, when it's game day on Saturday morning, man, I'm up at 5:30. I'm doing Tai Chi. I'm excited. It's like I'm getting ready for the game like the kids are. So if I lose that feeling, then maybe I know it would be time to move on. But right now, my excitement about it is just it's like when I was an 18-year-old freshman for my first college football game. I still have that level of excitement. And I tell the players that, hey, you got to come to work every day realizing that you're living somebody else's dream.
Yeah.
So I think how many people would love to be or have dreamt to be the head football coach at Alabama State. So I don't take it lightly when I'm, hey, it's the head football coach of Alabama State. Then it's like, that's something that I'm so blessed to have the opportunity to do it. And I just want to, you know, make all the people that came before me proud and make all the people that's going to come after me look like, hey, man, he set the mark of what it means to be the head football coach of Alabama State.
Yeah. That's significant. That's significant. So with that being said, go ahead and crank us up for the season. What can we look forward to?
Oh, man. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We start off, you know, in Birmingham against Southern University.
Let's go.
And, you know, they have Marshall Faulk, and he's an NFL Hall of Famer. Played against him in the NFL. He's a New Orleans guy, too.
Yeah.
And so watched him ever since he was in high school and college. So it'll be great. I mean, whenever Southern and Alabama State get together, you got the Marching Hornets, the Human Jukebox, Dancing Dolls, the Stingettes. I mean, we can go on and on. There's two universities that parallel each other in so many ways and have had so many great games. So it's just a great way to start the season. Then I think we come back home against Lane College for the Labor Day Classic, which we haven't had in a couple years. So I know you're gonna have your white outfit on. Excited, ready to go. And I think the third game we go down to Troy, which we haven't played at Troy in quite some years. So I think the first 3 games really get the season like going, and so the month of September is going to be a lot of fun. So we're working hard every day. You know, we don't talk about championship, but we know that's our goal. But we always are in that mindset of win today. Can we get the marginal gains of getting a little bit better every day, and that's where we're at.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Now I saw that we were able to get Body to come back.
Yep.
All right, great. And we but on the, I guess who are we pairing him up with? Like maybe a receiver or something. who's on the other side of the ball we can look forward to seeing this
Yeah, I
year?
think from an offensive standpoint, you got Jamari Holesclaw, talented running back, going into his 3rd year. He's coming back also. Elijah Baker, who was a offensive lineman who was a walk-on for 3 years and started for the first time last year as an All-American offensive lineman.
Man, that's excellent.
And got some wide receivers, some transfer guys that we really feel good about. Tate is a guy that's been looking really good. And then Kareem Key, our quarterback from a couple years ago, is now full-time wide receiver, and he's excited and just really love his development of being a young guy, quiet, to now actually being a team leader. So it's when you see kids grow like that, and the 20-year-old version of him is not like the 18-year-old version, so you can see the type of man he's going to become. Forget the football player.
Yes.
He's going to be a really good individual. He'll be a great alumnus of Alabama State one day.
That's right. That's what we need.
Yeah. And defensive side of the ball, I think you got Tayshawn Sims, all-conference safety. He's coming back for next year, and Michael Joyner, some of the big guys defensive line-wise. And I think Dylan Blakey, that's a kid that was a walk-on last year and from Atlanta area and just played really good as a young guy. And now you could just comes from a really good high school. His high school coach was an alumnus of Alabama State. So you could just, the leadership that the kid has is just amazing. So that's what we really like, is to see those type of guys that are just developing as leaders and people, and that's probably the big part of it. So we're excited, man. Every day we go to practice, every day it gets a little bit closer. I'm just checking off the boxes of you being patient, but it's like Christmas coming, so for me it was always Mardi Gras. So I know it's like when I know Mardi Gras coming, I'm getting excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So okay, well, cool. Tell the people right quick, look in your camera right here, and tell the people where they can find you on social media, on your handles.
Oh, really easy. On Instagram and X is at erob50, EROB50. So if I got one that simple, I had it a long time.
Yeah. You didn't get hacked by the bandits that was out there stealing profiles.
Not yet, knock on wood, right? Had to shut it down and come up with something with 8 numbers and a dash and a semicolon. So hopefully I won't have to get to that. So
all right, that's cool. And you guys know where you can find me, Joe Fontaine on Instagram and Fontaine LaFleur on Facebook. So make sure you check us out. Make sure you check us out on Spotify, Amazon, and Apple. Coach, I got a t-shirt for you as well. I made sure that it was purple.
You got the right color.
For the greatest fraternity in the world. Make sure, that's it. That should be your size.
Appreciate that, man.
Got the logo on the front, QR code on the back so we can scan and see your episode of the show right there. And we just really appreciate you coming out, spending time with us on the Leadership and Literacy Podcast. I hope this is not the last time you'll come sit with us. We're looking forward to having you come back as a SWAC champ. And then also I'm going to challenge you guys to be the first in many years to win the Heritage Classic. We want the whole thing, Coach.
Celebration Bowl?
The Celebration Bowl. I'm sorry. We want the whole thing, man.
Absolutely.
Gee whiz. I think it's actually been years since the SWAC has won that, man.
Yeah, it's been a couple years ago. Jackson State won, but we've only been probably like 1 out the last 5. So we down on numbers.
Yeah, exactly. So we want it all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to having you come back and sitting in this chair as the SWAC champ and the Celebration Bowl champ. Most definitely. And I really appreciate it. And for you, good people out there, a wise man once said, when you're up against the trouble, meet it squarely.
Face to face.
Lift your chin, set your shoulders, plant your feet.
Take a brace.
When it's vain to try and dodge it, do the best that you can do. You may fail.
Oh, you may conquer.
See it through. And that's what we're doing right here on the Leadership and Literacy Podcast, where we get up and read daily.